So far you have seen about genetics, variations. What kind of variations? Continuous variations, discontinuous variations. Then laws of Mendel, biography of Mendel. Then about monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, trihybrid cross, recessive back cross, followed by dominant back cross, recessive back cross, monohybrid test cross, dihybrid test cross. Then after that, gene interaction. So in that gene interaction, introgenic gene interaction. So which are the things we have seen about that? Incomplete dominance, codominance. Incomplete dominance and codominance. Now about lethal genes. So in lethal genes, actually sometimes what happens here, the genes present in an organism in homozygous condition, either dominant or recessive, can cause death or killing effect of an organism. Such genes are called lethal genes. See, actually one of the example, even in mice, lethal genes are noticed. Green color, light green color, white color. Actually, cross is made between green color, white color plants. You get only light green in the F1 generation. When the F1 hybrids are self-pollinated, you get the ratio of 1 green to light green is to 1 white. So recessive condition. In that white condition, what happens here? The seedling will not develop chlorophyll. Hence the seedling dies in the young stage itself. So the ratio becomes 1:2:1 becomes 1:2. This is an example for recessive lethality. So that condition is noticed here. So lethal genes, an allele which has the potential to cause death killing effect of an organism is called lethal allele. An allele which has the potential to cause death of an organism, possessor, is called lethal gene. Now, who reported that? Barr reported a lethal gene in snapdragon, antirrhinum. Snapdragon, common name, binomial name, antirrhinum, common name, snapdragon. In snapdragon, there are 3 kinds of leaves. The plants, 3 types of plants having 3 kinds of leaves. One kind of plant with green leaves. Green leaves in the sense dominant genes. Capital C, both the dominant genes. Then next one about yellow-green. Yellow-green is a hybrid having heterozygous condition. The next one about white. Small c, homozygous recessive, homozygous dominant, homozygous recessive, heterozygous one. Now you just see that here 3, and then a cross is made between green leaves with white, you get only yellow-green leaves. That is commonly called aurea, antirrhinum aurea. When the F1 hybrids with aurea were self-pollinated cross, the offspring produced in the F2 generation the ratio of 1:2:1. 1 green leaves, 2 aurea is to 1 white leaves. Now what happens here? Genotypic ratio also same. Phenotypic ratio, genotypic ratio also same. 1 capital C, 2 capital C small c is to 1 small c. Now this plant dies in the young stage itself. Why? Because there is no chlorophyll development. It cannot be able to produce food. So it dies in the seedling stage itself. So the ratio becomes 1 green is to 2, 1:2. This is what kind of lethality? Recessive lethality. Recessive genes in homozygous condition cause death of the individual. Such genes are called recessive lethal genes. Now like the dominant recessive genes also noticed. So such dominant genes are noticed in that. The ratio becomes changed to 2:1. Dominant recessive in the ratio 1:2:1. Dominant genes in homozygous condition cause lethality. So such lethality is called dominant lethality. The ratio of dominant lethality 2:1. So this is all about lethality. So lethality in the sense sometimes the genes located in an organism, either a homozygous dominant condition or homozygous recessive condition, cause death of an organism, death of the possessor. So such genes are called lethal genes, and the phenomenon is called lethality. Okay. So lethal genes are noticed in snapdragon, antirrhinum. Who first reported that? E. Barr. Who reported that one? So he may, and then there are 3 kinds of leaves, 3 kinds of plants in snapdragon. 3 kinds of plants having 3 kinds of leaves. So one kind of plants having green leaves with the genotype capital C dominant genes. And then another second kind of plant yellow green is commonly called Aurea, hybrid one. And then golden, this is also called golden one, golden pale green golden plant. Then third one having genotype capital C small c. Then last one white with the genotype small c. The white cannot able to survive, so it will die in the seeding stage, young stage itself. Okay, so that's what called recessive lethality. Now cross made between Aurea leaved plants, and oxygen produced in the F2 generation is a ratio of 1:2:1. 1 green is to 2 Aurea is to 1 white. The white plant dies in the young stage itself due to the absence of chlorophyll. Without chlorophyll, it cannot able to survive. So the ratio becomes 1:2. This is recessive lethality. And then next one, dominant lethality, just 2:1. Why? Because the first one dominant one. So that the dominant lethality noticed in some plants, but not given in the ratio of dominant lethality 2:1. Okay. Then next one about pleiotropic genes. In pleiotropy, single gene affects multiple characters. Single gene affects multiple traits or characters and the characters and alter the phenotype of an organism. Single gene affects multiple traits and alter the phenotype of an organism. Single gene affects multiple traits and alter the phenotype of an organism. Such gene is, this phenomenon is called pleiotropy. Such genes are called pleiotropic genes. So pleiotropic genes are noticed in pea plant. In pea plant, three kinds of characters controlled by single gene as a single unit. Three kind of traits controlled as a single unit. See, for example, purple flower, brown seeds, and dark spots on leaves, Like that, another one, white flower, light colored seeds, and then no spot on the leaves. Across made between these two, and then the offspring produced in the F1 generation were purple flower, and then brown seeds, dark spot leaves, just like dominance only. Then all that the three traits controlled by single gene, with the dominant recessive alleles inherited together as a single unit. Then another example for pleiotropic gene in human sickle cell anemia. Pleiotropic genes. In pleiotropy, the single gene affects multiple traits. And alter the phenotype of an organism. Single gene affects multiple traits and alter the phenotype of an organism. Phenotype means character of an organism. The pleiotropic gene influences a number of characters. The pleiotropic gene influences a number of characters simultaneously, and such genes are called pleiotropic genes. Example for this: Pisum sativum, purple flower, brown seeds, dark spots on the axils of the leaves. Dark spots on the axil of the leaves. No spots on the axils of the leaves. So in Pisum sativum, three characters. So which are three? Purple flower, dark seed, purple flower, brown seeds, and dark spots on the axils of the leaves. And then these three characters, dominant characters. Then another one, white flower, light colored seeds, and no spots on the axils of the leaves. So when cross made between these two, the offspring produced in the F1 generation were hybrids, of course, having purple flower, dark brown seeds, and dark spots on the axils of the leaves. Now, actually here all these characters controlled by single gene. All these characters controlled by a gene, and they are inherited as a single gene and inherited together as a single unit. Such genes are called pleiotropic genes. Pleiotropic genes also noticed in human being. Sickle cell anemia in human being.